Le slow ist le pieux. Hello, everyone. I was gonna say hello, everyone. I am the MoeChicken. Welcome back to more Radical Dreamers. And then I was looking at the word EST, and I'm like, is that French? I don't know if that's French or not, but I don't speak French, so there you go. I'm the MoeChicken. This is Radical Dreamers, and welcome back. We are still continuing to try and get all of the endings. In the last episode, Space Hero showed up. Turns out Maggle is a superhero. Did you know? Did you know Maggle's a superhero? Because apparently he is. And Lynx was a Martian. And now I'm going to fall asleep again. So that's cool. There's something to be said that perhaps most of these endings are actually just like maybe the implication is that Surge is just asleep for most of this. That these are just his dreams, and like the first ending, the Le Trésor Enterré, is the actual events. But then on the other hand, you stay awake for the sunflower. So that actually happened. Shrug emoji. I don't know. Anyway, today we are finally going to pay attention to that blue light that we have seen numerous times. Also, today is going to be a little bit more spooky than some of the other events we've seen. So we will go ahead and get into it. Now we will see the blue light as the passages extend from left and right. Now I'm going to be like, chilly sweat, blue light, better check that out. And kids all like, you shut up. But I care. I care about that blue light. There's no skylight. I have to know what it was. It could be another Martian. Could be more Martians. Nope. Take another second to see about that light. There's something here, I'm sure of it. It was a faint light, sort of like a camera flash, but much more subtle. Couldn't have been the moonlight. Sedge, what are you, paralyzed? Come on, Kid says, coming back towards me. There's something here, Kid. Just as I start to think it could have been my imagination, suddenly, wearing a tattered old priest's robe, a figure of a young lady materializes above us. Finally, you have come. What am I looking at? Oh, there's her face. Okay, it's near the top. Ed, point at her face. You can kind of see like the dark eye section and like a smile there. And then her arms are kind of like down, held together, like she's got kind of her hands held together, like pointing down. It's weird though. I remember the first time I saw this, I couldn't tell what I was looking at, and it freaked me out a lot more. Because actually, this was the first new ending I got when I started getting the second innings, because you automatically see this like blue light, and it's like, oh, what is this? That voice. It's so strange. It's like it's resonating inside my head. Kid. Oh, Kid, can you hear that? I'm not even sure if I just said that. Could this all be a dream? Before I have time to think, Kid and Maggle come up beside me, also staring at the apparition. Okay, now I know this is real. It's too real to be a dream. Where'd she go? Black magic. Witchcraft. Necromancy. I mean, I've seen all kinds of really sordid stuff in the past, but this, I don't think I've ever been faced with anything like this before. Zombies, black magic, reanimated corpses, totally normal. A ghost? I ain't down with that. On the other hand, Magwell stands there with his usual cool composure. He's seen ghosts. I doubt this is the first time he's dealing with something like this. A wave of anxiety runs through my entire body, standing here in this dark, damp hallway. I wonder, should we even be here? Was this a message of some kind to leave? Just by standing here, we might be desecrating the memory of the dead. The girl's face shines out in my mind. She seems so sad. I do not believe this will necessarily help with our mission. Let us move on. I've never been so quick to agree with Maggle. Kid doesn't seem to have any objections either. After a while, the path splits into three directions. To the left is the descending staircase, while the path on the right extends into darkness. Another passageway lies ahead. So next we gotta go towards the ballroom. But the ballroom is not a ballroom anymore. It's something else. A slight breeze is our only welcome as we enter through the huge set of doors. We're met with silence as we look around this spacious 2-story hall. On the far right wall, a monstrous organ, don't laugh, stands proudly, don't laugh, beckoning us with its pitch-black aura. A countless number of candles are lit all around us, offsetting our surroundings with a strange, flickering radiance. What is this place? A cathedral or something? See, it's a cathedral now. It's not a ballroom. It's a cathedral now.
It seems so. The candles in this room have been placed in such a way to produce patterns of shadows consistent with occult teachings,
Maggle says. Looking down, I can see he's onto something. A number of strange candlelit patterns dance around on the floor.
Do not stand there.
I instantly leap back, cold sweat running down my neck. My hand is on my knife. Not that it'll do any good against ghosts.
Indeed, a most peculiar arrangement, Maggle continues as I back toward against the wall. This is indeed an unholy cathedral, ordained for occult sermons. The shadows indicate this spot is a focal point of some kind. This entire mansion is an instrument for defying order. No, wait, he continues a moment later. I was wrong. This room isn't the focal point. The shadows don't quite meet here in focus, as though,
look around with him. Although scared, I start to look around the cathedral. Its dusty pillars and cold, clammy walls send a shiver down my spine. Setting my sights on the organ, don't laugh, I walk over towards it. Strange. The keyboard is fake. There's no mistaking it. These keys aren't real. They're bound together. All the whites are one solid piece of ivory, as well as all the blacks. Hey, Maggle, have you seen this yet? I think I found something. Black. As soon as I push down the keys, the organ's lid suddenly slams shut on my fingers. Damn this godforsaken mansion! Kid and Maggle start pulling on the lid, but it's shut much too tightly. Get it off! After a moment, Kid pulls her knife out using the blade to pry the lid up. She's able to raise it just a bit, and I immediately remove my hands. I stumble back in an adrenaline-filled daze. Rubbing my hands, I look them all over. They don't seem to be broken, but they're awfully sore. Oh, thanks, Kid. Don't mention it, mate. I reapproach the keyboard. What a surprise. Now it opens without any trouble at all. Can I use like a stick or something? I don't know, man. White keys. Nothing seems to be happening. I take another look at the keyboard. Okay, so this is clearly not a jazz keyboard. Not allowed to use the black keys. Not available. It will attack you. It will attack you for attempting to put sharps and flats into your music. Not okay. What about both at once? Again, is there a stick? Can I use a stick? As soon as I press down on the keys, the wall just to the left of me begins to rumble. A secret passage has just opened up. And it didn't bite my hand. Side by side on my keyboard. Ebony and ivory at the same time. Cacophony is the way to go. Peering into it, I can see a stone stairway winding down.
A secret floor directly beneath this one. Of course,
Maggle says to himself as we start down this narrow staircase. Once we reach the bottom, Maggle casts a spell, allowing us to see in this dark, damp room. The faint luminescence allows us to see somewhat. We're in a room not much taller than head height. However, what's interesting is that this room seems to have the exact same length and width as the room above us. Even the pillars are here in the exact same places as they were above. Could this have been the original floor? Covered up with what's there now? Why would someone do that? What would they need to cover up?
Look over there,
Maggle whispers. In the direction he's pointing, we see a faint, cloud-like mass. No, my mistake. It's something etched on the floor, emitting a dull, pulsating light.
What is it? Kid asks. I cannot be sure. Perhaps it is an inscription placed here by those that constructed this place. I must think more on this matter.
Suddenly, a dry wind blows past me. It didn't come from the stairwell, and there aren't any windows down here.
Let us come back when we know more,
Maggle says. I have no problem with that whatsoever. We head back up out of the stairways and out of the cathedral, back into the corridor within seconds. But still, that chilly feeling on the back of my neck isn't abated. We leave the cathedral, heading back through the corridor. After a bit of walking, we come to a three-way split in the path. On the right is a set of stairs leading down, while a narrow passageway on the left leads off into darkness. Alright, let's go down the stairs. Let's see what's downstairs. We'll just keep looking around. I wonder if there's anything special about the archway. I mean, it's usually just piranhas. But we need to open up the Mouth of Truth thing, so let's go ahead and do this. Peeping in from the arched entranceway, Kid looks astonished. Oh, look at this! I heard about these things. They're called atriums. Oh, hello, naked baby. How are you? A large fountain sits in the center of this beautiful room. Looking across the way, another archway similar to this one leads off into darkness. Whew, cold, Kid exclaims, taking her hand out of the water. Coming to her side, I kneel down and peer into the pond. Leading over to the beautiful marble edge, I too feel the chilly water. Deep beneath the surface, a number of fish start to swim towards us. Oh, these buggers look expensive. I can't see to the bottom of the pond. I wonder how deep it is. I hear a few splashes here and there. Kid turns around, facing me. She's stiff as a pole, blood-stained. Oh no, what? What the? I rush over to Kid in a flash. Ah! The fish are ravenously leaping out of the water, snapping at our flesh as they spit up thick blood on us. Amidst all of this, the fountain has started to spew volumes of blood-stained water. I back away slowly, too terrified to think. The fish. Oh, the fish, Kid says over and over, apparently in shock as she tries to clean the gorges of blood off her hands and arms. But the fish keep on coming, spitting more and more blood upon us. However, what I see next makes my stomach turn. Masses of bones and half-eaten body parts start to bubble up to the surface of the pond. Heads, arms, fingers, and feet.
These fish are cursed,
Maggle shouts over the commotion.
They are being influenced by something.
I take a few more steps back, eager to get away from all of this.
I see now,
Maggle adds.
These fish are something of an experiment, it seems. Their minds have been unnaturally twisted and broken. The fear of death is thick in the air, even for these cannibals.
He's right. The fish don't seem to be hungry for us. They're just madly snapping at anything that moves, even themselves. Not even the body parts are fully eaten. Oh, I can barely stomach the sight as the body parts begin to spill over onto the tile floor. Come on, hurry, I say to Kid, taking her arm. We carefully make our way around the fountain, avoiding it as much as we can by hugging the walls. Yeah, let's continue onwards. Ew. Frickin' ew, man. Alright, yeah, go down. Downstairs. Maybe we can go see Esmeld and he can give us some tea and it won't freak us out. He's like, hello, oh, nope, never mind, this is happening. We come to a long corridor flanked with rows of cell after cell. This place is this place as a unnerving atmosphere about it. Good translation there. Y'all, excellent work, Demi-Force. Thank you so much for translating this, Demi-Force. But you need a better editor. I can almost feel its history, where once, somewhere in the past, countless dreadful things must have taken place. Crumbling tunics adorn the bleached skeletons in each cell. The weathered, crumbling garments are so faded, I can't even tell their original color or make. There's no mistake. People died here. So, well, if it's Lynx's jail, you'd think there'd be more screaming going on or something. Anything but this silence, Kid says. No, to be perfectly honest, I agree with her. I'd almost welcome some noise other than our own at this point. Yeah, let's get out of here. This place gives me the creeps. Just ahead of me, I bump into Kid, who's come to a complete stop. Something's wrong, mate. I stop my breath, trying to listen for anything. Then, out of the darkness, clunk, clunk, clunk. Oh, we wanted some noise. Alright, what is it? Oh, it's a skeleton. Hello. Attack. Ha! Ah, my face. Ah, my face. Oh, it does the boogity, boogity, boogity. And I was like, oh, boogity, boogity. No! I'm terrified of boogity, boogity. Attack. Yeah. Da, 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 da. I actually wasn't, like, most of these endings you don't ever fight anything. It's just sort of like you just kind of are taken on a tour. So I'm surprised that I had to fight anything, but makes sense it would be a skeleton, right? Everything in here is pointing towards, violence, so... Oh, good. She still likes me, though. It's good to know. I may be getting injured, but she still likes me, so that's nice. It's good to know that that's how you tell what kids' feelings are for you. After heading down the dark, dingy passageway for a while, eventually I start to smell the pungent odor of dead flesh. That's usually dead fish, but it's dead flesh here. Because this is the spooky ending. I mean, it is... Like, again, this was the first ending that I found like, the first bonus ending I found in the game. And it's, like, so dark and, like, spooky that I was like, oh my gosh, what else am I going to encounter? And then I think the next one I found was the sunflower one, so that kind of brought me back out of it, but, you know. Yeah, okay, I don't want to hang out with the bloody fountain of bones and such. Oh, I can't look at the marmoreal mask of truth. Mouth of truth. I'm gonna keep going. Head down passageway. Let's go see what Riddell's room is like. I'm curious what Riddell's room is like. Ta-da! Riddell's room! Yay! Oh, it still smells lovely in here. Let's go in. This is a leisurely room decorated to a fine taste. An antique cupboard, polished wooden toy animals, and a shiny glass vase add to its charm. However, the flower in the vase is long since wilted. It's been long. Again, maybe get a better editor. Since the furniture was dusted last. There are traces of life here, but not recent ones. A broken window lies hidden behind this elegant interior. Oh, did you see that? Did you see that leaf? That was cool. You like see it coming towards the screen in the mirror, and then it showed up. That's neat. A broken window lies hidden behind this elegant interior. Wind blows in through the small crack.
There doesn't seem to be anything useful here. Let's go.
Hang on a sec, Kid responds, kicking open a chest. I come to her side, peering in with her. Inside, a pale blue robe is found. Shea, Kid quietly says. That name, Shea. Kid takes notice of my looking at her and quickly composes herself. You're right. There's nothing here. Come on. Before I have time to ask, Kid leads the way out. Oh. From here, the passageway stretches to the right and left. Right? I don't know why I said it that way. Right and left. Heading right will take us further into the darkness, while turning left will blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we're going to go right. Let's go see Lynx's room. Riddell's room was kind of a bust. It was just in need of cleaning. I guess Noelle isn't around. After a little while, the dark passageway ends at a polished, robust set of doors. Kid crinkles her nose in disgust. Something's strange about this place. It don't feel right, mate. Probably just my imagination, though. Standing here in the cold darkness, Kid's hollow laugh does nothing but add to my fear. All right, let's go see we'll see the mirror too. Maggle pauses, staring at the door handle. What's wrong? I ask.
These doors. They're locked, but not with a key. Some type of force field is protecting them.
Can't you use your magic on it? Can't you just, like, burst into flame again? Or take out a bunny hand puppet and break through the force field?
I'm not Mick Van Jovi anymore. That was a different me.
He closes his eyes, slowly extending his hand out towards the handle. But then, just as he touches it, a spark jumps out of his hand.
The solution to this riddle lies elsewhere,
he says before turning on his heel. Kid and I follow after him a moment later. Okay. Well, I guess we can go check out the, this is the room Kid found something unsettling in. Let's keep on walking. Keep on walking. Maybe there's something in the in the storeroom. We'll check there, or the treasure room. Probably should have checked those before I went downstairs, but whatever. Or maybe there's something in the study? We'll check the study. Check the study next. Go on in. Yep. Yep. Dusty books. Dusty books. Let me examine the desk. Yeah. Oh, nuts. What's looking at, Serge? Oh, it's probably just another Lynx's sick hobbies, collecting weird stuff like this. Yeah, but come on, this is boring. I want to get that flame. I reluctantly agree with her, giving a forced laugh. Yeah, I could say more, but that was it? I thought she was going to comment on it. Alright. Was it not a picture of Riddle? Or Riddell? Riddell? I've never known how to pronounce it. I usually say Riddell, but sometimes I say Riddle. Whatever. I'm inconsistent. I want to go to the terrace. Yeah. Maybe we go to the treasure room. I don't know. I don't know how to get into the Lynx's room, so it's weird to think that we're going to the treasure room to try and find the key to Lynx's room, where normally we did that the other way around. I guess we might as well check here too. Open the door. So says the door. What's with all this junk? Must be a storeroom or something. It seems like this is the inner mechanics of a clock tower. However, the gears look old and rusted and the cogs are spinning randomly without connecting up with their proper teeth. I doubt the clock's still in use today. The room seems to be currently used as a storage area. A large object catches my attention off in a far corner of the room. It's too dark over there to see what it is, though.
Do not touch anything out of the ordinary,
Maggle says abruptly, sending a sudden shock down my spine. However, just as he says this, I see Kid emerge from the shadows, dragging the large object out in the middle of the room. It's a large antique sword of some kind. We got no use for that old thing, Kid. All it'll do is slow us down. Besides, we probably wouldn't even get much money for it. I reckon it's worth a lot to the right buyer. Like some antique collector or somebody. Sulking, Kid quietly lays the sword down. What do you want? I look around startled. It's definitely not any of our voices. Kid and Maggle immediately take position, focusing their attention towards the source of the voice. Who's there? Oh, she's here. A figure suddenly appears out of the darkness. It seems to be a short old woman with a large hood over her head. Although fully covered, it's obvious she's quite old. Oh, it's just some old hag, Kid says. Maggle's sharp gaze on the woman remains unchanged, however. What an energetic young lady. You haven't come here this late in the evening to drop in on some friends, I'd imagine. I glance at Kid. Perhaps you have some score to settle with Master Lynx. My heart jumps. This is definitely not good. Will she warn the rest of them about us? Tell the truth. Kid's eyes narrow. If we did have a score to settle with that bastard, what's it to you? Just as I expected. The old woman cackles in amusement. Cackle, cackle, cackle. Children, they're always so interesting like that. So imaginative, yet so predictable. Question marks? What are you talking about, old lady? Oh, it's already been 4 or 5 years, or what I gather. According to what I was told, one night a young thief came to the manor looking for trouble. The thief was a little girl, about 10 years old. Surprised, I glance at Kid. There's a trace of an ice-like radiance in her eyes. Staring at her makes me feel like it's suddenly dropped below freezing in here. Unfazed, the old woman continues her story. The girl was an orphan. She set off to face Master Lynx all alone, hoping to avenge the girl who had cared for her like a big sister. But after all, she was all alone. Outnumbered and overpowered, she was eventually defeated and captured by Master Lynx's henchmen.
As an ally, Master Lynx can be quite an asset. However, as an enemy, he can be one of the most fearsome men alive. If not for a friend who had sneaked in and secretly rescued her, she surely would have perished. From what I've heard, this mysterious figure, who could allegedly slip in and out of shadows, was the subject of many whispers throughout the manor, long after this incident had come to pass.
Not moving a muscle. I try to look for Mago. He's so nowhere to be seen. I can only guess he's sporting one of those trademark expressionless faces, somewhere off in the darkness.
I guess I thought this was going to be different. Honestly, this is exactly the same as the regular game. I hope I did not screw up this effort by doing this. I don't think you can do that, but I'm not sure.
The inhabitants of Viper Manor don't condemn the unfortunate because no one can win all the time. However, from time to time, the goddess of fate has been known to cast down those who have too much good luck, throwing the cogs of time out of order. It's not wise to try and stand against fate, continuing to repeat one's mistakes time and time again.
The old woman continues, staring straight at Kid, smiling sweetly.
If you want to steal the jewel, and you really want to beat him, you too must give up your most valued possession, Kid. As long as you cling to it, the hands of your clock will never budge. They'll stay frozen, trapped in the distant past.
Who the bloody hell is this old hag?
Me. I'm just an old lady, pay me no mind. Thank you for listening to this old maid for such a long time. I certainly hope I haven't delayed you at all. But before you leave, which one of you...
With that, the old woman looks in my direction.
Ah, yes, you look like you've got a bit of a scrape there. Won't you let me have a look at it?
What should I do? I don't know whether to be petrified or comforted by all this. Yes, please do, ma'am.
The old woman clasps her hands together. Bowing her head, she mumbles a few words in a low tone. Suddenly, a gentle pale blue light surrounds my body, filling me with a strange warmth.
Wow, look at that! My wounds are being healed before my eyes. It feels as though there's some sort of soft music being played all around me, putting me in a sort of strange serenity. When I come around, the woman is gone. Hello? Hello? Lady? Says Kid, relentlessly looking all around. However, there's no trace of her. All signs of her presence are gone. Well, what was up with that old hag? Looking around, I can't help but wonder what she was talking about, with all that talk of a prized possession and everything. Let's get all asses out of here. This place is giving me the creeps, says Kid all of a sudden, already heading for the door. Hey, wait up. As I catch up with Kid, she gives me a friendly poke in the ribs. I know, fair, you were the only one that got healed. Alright, well, that was exactly the same as the regular game, so we'll see. Again, I really hope I didn't screw anything up by going there, but I suppose I'll find out. Okay. Go inside. The door's locked. But not for long. Before Mago can even offer an unlock spell, I notice Kid combing her fingers through her hair, revealing a hairpin after a moment or two. Kneeling down by the door, she fiddles around with the lock for a bit, and after a while it unlocks it with a click. There we go. No magic lock this time. That was almost too easy. An amazing sight is spread before our eyes. I don't quite know what to think of it. We're in some sort of treasure vault with piles of gold, silver, and other sparkling treasure stacked in piles throughout the room. But, that's not the half of it. Looking out towards the far end, an even more remarkable sight catches my eye. Halfway into the room, the piles of treasure turn into somewhat of a beach, followed by a glistening ocean. It's all a huge diorama, with every single object crafted from gems or precious metal, not pictured here. The ocean, however, is perfectly calm. No, calm isn't the word for it. It's still as glass. The glistening sheen of every undulating whitecap here seems to be frozen in time, stirred up like crystal valleys against the jade-like reefs of nearby islands. I walk out onto the beach and bend down to touch the unmoving water, but it's not frozen, just motionless. Hello? Hi there! Who are you? A polished metallic siren, adorned with the scales of mica and hair of platinum. Is platinum green? Not the color I associate with platinum. Stands proudly on a nearby island with a mysterious smile on its face. In its lifelike hand, sort of pictured here, not terribly lifelike, almost obscured by a crashing wave, is an object of rare beauty. This stone, gripped tightly by the pearl-colored hand, seems as though it's capturing this ocean's stormy essence within its deep red center. Indeed, this is the object we've been seeking. It's out of our grasp, if only by a small distance, seized within the hand of this suspicious-looking metallic contraption. Frozen flame. There it is! Surge, get your scaffold! Scaffold? Kid shouts, unable to suppress her highly strung heart any longer. However, I hesitate. There's more to this than meets the eye, I tell myself as I glance at Maggle. His eyes tell me the same. I'll look around for a little longer. Ouch! What was that for? You don't have to slap me every time you disagree with me. Look, mate, just let me have your scaffold and I'll take care of the rest, alright? It's no use. I suppose I'm going to face pain no matter what I do. We might as well get the frozen flame. What is this scaffold thing? Bamboo scaffold? What? What is this thing? Ed, is this a thing? A portable bamboo scaffold? I don't know what they're talking about. When I think of a scaffold, I think like scaffolding, which is like a structure you put next to a building that's in construction, but what are they talking about here? I don't know. I take the bamboo scaffold out of my bed. The entire scaffold was just in my bag. The Oriental monocotyledon? The monocotyledon it's crafted from is extremely light, durable, and elastic. Perfect for travel. I place it on the ground and we go to work, assembling the bridge-like structure. I stand back after a few moments, looking at the finished product spread out on the beach. Kid tests it by stepping on it lightly, then adding a little more weight until she finally stands on it firm. It appears solid enough. I nod to Kid as Maggle and I take the scaffold and swing it over to the small island, connecting the two pieces of land together. I let out a deep, shaky breath as Kid takes her first step out. The scaffold gives a little, but stays afloat. The siren maintains its ominous stare as Kid approaches. Stays afloat? Didn't they say the beach was frozen? Couldn't you just walk on the beach then? Or the water? The water's frozen. Couldn't you just... I don't understand. The distance between the two closes with each passing step. Before long, she reaches the reef and is within arm's length of the flame. Come on, take it, I whisper, my fists clenched. She reaches out ever so slowly. Her head turns from the flame to the siren's face and back, as her hand draws ever closer and closer. Those deep aquamarine eyes remain vacant and still. But wait, no! The siren is starting to move! Kid, get out of there! It's coming to life! The kid's already on her way back with the frozen flame in hand. The churning of the siren's metallic innards increases, getting louder and louder by the second. The sound rips through my eardrums as I watch the movements become more and more fluid. Just as the siren starts to move, the ocean comes to life as well. Somehow the waves start to churn and toil, gaining increasing vigor and momentum the more the siren awakens. The siren turns and takes a step towards Kid, who's now back on the scaffold. She's having trouble maintaining balance above the now violent body of water as it crashes and bubbles mere inches beneath her feet. Pursued by this relentless, inorganic beast, she desperately tries to make her way home. Oh no! Kid slipped on a wet spot. She falls into the water head first with a splash. The surging waves splash all around her, mercilessly thrashing all around. The siren starts to come for Kid, trudging ever so slowly into the white-capped frenzy. A sudden wave smashes into Kid, and after it recedes, I can't even see her head anymore. Oh, please, God, don't let her drown. I see her hand emerge a few seconds later, desperately reaching out, trying to grab onto something. I have to save her. Distract the siren, anything. Suddenly a flash flies through the air. It's Maggle. He's shooting his silver needles at the siren. One of them hits it directly between the eyes. Platinum-colored blood starts to gush out of the hole. However, it does nothing to stop the unrelenting robotic beast, now only a few feet from Kid. Its mouth begins to open to an unnatural extent like that of a gigantic snake. Damn it, what am I going to do? Dive in the water. I dive in without a moment's notice. I try to open my eyes in the water to find Kid, but the instant I do, I'm forced to shut them from the salty sting of seawater. Coming up for air, I try to find Kid among the vigorously crashing waves. She's a ways ahead of me, bobbing in and out of the water. I have to be quick. And swimming over to where I last saw her, a hand suddenly floats up to the surface of the water. I grab on and pull with all my might. The hand is rotted away below the wrist, however. Corpses suddenly start to emerge out from all around me. These half-rotten, waterlogged bodies should be dead and lifeless, but somehow they're all coming for me, trying to pull me under. I quickly dive underwater, swimming as fast as I can away from the pack of bodies. I come up for air, spotting Kid just a few feet in front of me. She's spitting water out of her mouth, only moments away from drowning. Kid, come on, hurry! I grab her hand and dive deep underwater, underneath the stormy water. Swimming away, I accidentally bump into one of the corpses. Just as I feel them all just start to crowd around us, I unsheath my knife and blindly hack away. Clinging tightly to Kid's hand, I swim and swim until I can't hold my breath any longer. Coming up for air, I realize we've made it. I take her up into my arms and carry her ashore. Oh, she's barely conscious. The zombies, though, I guess. Zombies? Lying next to me, Kid coughs a bit, spitting up seawater. I try to calm her down. After a few moments, she rests peacefully on the glittering beach. Suddenly, I notice something. It's quiet. Perfectly quiet. I look up, wondering what just happened. The ocean was reverted back to how it once was, perfectly still, like a slice of time once again. The corpses are nowhere to be found. The siren has resumed its original pose, suddenly perched on the far island with that mysterious smile once again streaked across its face. After a few moments, Kid holds the frozen flame up over her head, staring into its shimmering beauty. Well, we got what we came for. She's right. I stand up and shake myself off, relieved it's all over with. I help her to her feet, eager to get out of here. Get out of here. This place is weird and creepy. Well, I guess maybe that will unlock Lynx's door, but we might as well go ahead and check the torture chamber. Why not? We checked everywhere else. Okay. Faint voice. Maybe zombies? Uh-huh. Now I'm gonna open the door. We're gonna check. See what's in here. See what's in here. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So far this is just the same as normal, so... Yep, scratches, butter. There's butter on the floor. For some reason there's butter on the floor. Casey Dragoons tortured in this room with spiky roof. No problem. Oh no! And we don't have the Einlanzer, you guys! We don't have the Einlanzer with which to protect ourselves! Oh no! We need the Einlanzer and not the Mass Immune. Uh-huh. Break the door. Nope. Ran the door. So far, this is just the same. I wish that they would have changed everything to make it all, like, special for the particular, ending, but I guess they couldn't change everything, so. Another question is, do we go to Lynx's room, or do we go to the cathedral again? I want to go to Lynx's room, because I feel like the frozen flame would, like, break the seal, so. Getzbühler. I like that name. Getzbühler. Some old bedtime story. I mean, they exist today. It's like, it's not that old, kid. Come on. She's like, where's my avion? I still want my drink. Where's my drink? Oh, this is a long episode. I tell you, that's one thing about trying to do all of these endings in like one episode is that they can be long. Actually, oh, something's happening. shouldn't the terrace be here? We've been walking long enough, but somehow the walls seem to extend on without any end in sight. You just shook up from what happened back there, mate, Kid says. Come on, the terrace is right up here. No, that wood handrail with the big knot in it, I remember it clearly. We just passed it a minute ago. We're going in circles. Circles? What a load. We're walking on a straight path. Can't you see it? She shouts, pointing down to the dark corridor. See? Straight. I know, kid. I don't know. Yeah, keep going, I guess. Here it is again. That same knot. This is bloody ridiculous. Why'd we come all the way out here? For this? Look at us. We can't even find our way out of a blasted house. Kid's going into hysteria. Wish I could do something, but to be honest, I'm not that much better off right now. This is freaking crazy. We're going around in circles. We never should have come here. Oh, we never should have done this. We lost, goddammit. What are we supposed to do now? Look, kid, nobody needs all the yelling, I say, frustrated. Who asked you, you lame-brained sack of... Suddenly, Maggle comes up behind us and touches us on the back of our necks. I don't know what he's doing, but it instantly calms me down, and by the looks of it, and sounds of it, Kid as well. I lean against the wall for a second, trying to think of what to do. Kid stoops down, miserable.
We are being toyed with, Maggle says. Look closely, down the center of the hallway. See how the walls suddenly warp. This is an illusion of some sort. Apparently, someone or something does not wish for us to advance any further.
Well, congratulations, Lynx. You got us walking around in circles. Bet you're mighty proud of yourself. So now what are we gonna do? Play some more games or fight like a man? Frustrated, she storms down the hallway once again. When's this bloody passageway gonna end? The terrace is nowhere in sight. Go? We make our way down the dimly lit passageway. Wait, we did it? Oh, wait, no. This is the clock tower. No, I want to go back. Head back towards the terrace. Yeah. There's something kind of spooky about the way that's written. The terrace is nowhere to be found. It's... Oh, gosh. Phone? What? What phone? What? Oh. It's my sister. I'll call her back. Yeah, there's something spooky about how brief that statement is, right? It feels like one of those games that became kind of in vogue where it was like, it's like a retro-styled, like, game like this, but it's supposed to be spooky, and there's like a nefarious entity inside of it. That's kind of how this feels a little bit to me. We're gonna keep going. Alright, so we found our way there, so let's take the stairs. Down we go. Down we go. Side note, we still haven't seen that ghost again from the very beginning. Do you guys remember the ghost? Like, at the very beginning, there was a ghost, and it just has not been an issue since then. Alright, I want to get back to it. I still think Lynx is the way to go right now, so we're going to go to Lynx. Oh, it was unsettling before, but now it's something strange. As we continue through the passageway, everything's going normal until suddenly something drops onto my hood, aka my dumb hat. I run my fingers through it and manage to peel off a cold, slimy object. I look up at the ceiling. There's thousands of disgusting little black things up there. Leeches! Ah! The slimy, blood-sucking animals continue to fall into our bodies as we panic more and more. We desperately try to shake them off, but it's hopeless. There's too many of them. They crowd around us, homing in on our presence from every direction, from the ceiling, the walls, and the floor, everywhere. We've got to turn around. However, looking back the way it became, a countless number have started to crowd around the passage back behind us, blocking our only exit. Oh, we gotta get out of here, Kid yells. Make a run for it. Run. Go. Look at us go. I can't stand this anymore. I gotta get out of here now. I start to bolt down the slimy, leech-filled corridor as fast as I can, as the leeches continue to rain onto us, wiggling their teeth way down our shirts, sucking our blood with their tiny teeth. I continue to run and run and run. I frantically scurry down the passageway, worried for dear life. Squishing their damp bodies under my feet, I suddenly take a bad step and slip on one of them, sending me flat onto my back. Ah! Coming up from behind, Kid doesn't seem to see me. Kid! I yell, but it's too late. Unable to stop in time, she topples over me, falling onto the leech-covered floor too. Sedge! Standing up, we try to clean ourselves off, but it's useless. I'm barely able to get any of the bloodsuckers off of me before more and more try to begin to drop down from the ceiling onto us. Oh, I've never been in anything as foul as this ever. Never. Ugh! Oh no, two have squirmed inside my mouth. They wiggle around violently as they latch themselves onto my tongue. Ew. I spit the mouthful out and suppress the urge to open my mouth and scream again, despite the sharp pain now in my mouth from the cuts they've left. Suddenly, something strange happens. Leeches all simultaneously begin to squirm out of my clothes, hair, and skin, heading back away from us. They travel a few feet down the corridor and there begin to accumulate into some sort of mass. Oh, what the... As the last few leeches make their way over to the mass, it starts to form into a humanoid shape. The figure solidifies moments later into some sort of blue monster holding a huge scythe. Oh, it's a naked baby. I saw a statue of you. A duck. I instantly duck down low, hoping to avoid the huge scythe. All right. The scythe only manages to cut through my shirt. But still, that was way too close. Hey, Stubby, you call that a scythe? Kid yells.
I was like, I know what scythes are like.
Come on, kid. It looks disturbed enough already. Attack. I switch my knife around for a backhand attack as the demon grins a disgusting smile at me. The second I see it break its focus, I lash out with my weapon. However, my dead-on attack seems to only graze the demon's skin. What are you smiling at, you freak? Kid yells as it gives us a twisted, fang-laden smile. I clean the sweat off my brow and try to keep focused. However, I can't help but notice the demon's eyes amidst all this. They've got an unsettling quality to them, almost as though this thing harbors some sort of unimaginable intelligence. Wait, what am I saying? I can't get lost in that thing's beautiful eyes now. Everybody knows these things can trap your spirit with their eyes alone. They're beautiful eyes. All of a sudden, the demon starts to mutter something. A second later, it bursts into flames. Within a few moments, the flames die out and the demon is no more. Gone without a trace. Thank you, phone. What the... A vague uneasiness sets in as I look around. Not a single scrap of evidence remains from that entire encounter. Was any of that even real? And scene. I'm barely hurt at all. Oh, now she doesn't like me, though. What did I do? What did I do? I didn't do anything. Oh, rare event. Okay, this can happen at random when you finish certain battles. You find treasure. Yay, treasure! Oh, look at that! Kate exclaims, her eyes wide as melons. Good eye, Serge. Damn it, when you gonna bloody grow up and start fighting like a man? Also, thank you for the gym. I think that actually fixed her opinion of us a little bit. What's that strange look on your face for, mate? I don't know. I don't have a good feeling about this place. Oh, come on, mate. You never have a good feeling about anything. Yeah, it's just that after what we went through with the treasure vault and all, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a worrywart. Well, you sure you want to keep on going? Kid asks with an unusually serious face. Somehow I find myself nodding silently, ignoring the warnings in my head. I remember something someone told me a while ago about this place. Everything in that mansion orders to Lord Lynx, he said. The creatures, the walls, the statues, everything. If you understand the concept of power by fear and control, then you understand Lynx. Magos strokes his chin, calmly examining the gigantic doors in front of us. There's bound to be something important in here. These dark mahogany doors tower above us, emanating an unmistakable sense of intimidation. All set? I ask, taking a deep breath, pushing the doors open slowly. As expected, these are Lynx's quarters. Or should I say, were. Staring at the sight before our eyes, all I can do is gasp in silence, half surprised, half terrified. To put it simply, Lynx is quite certainly in this room. However, not as we expected. Ew, isn't that spooky? Like, it's a simple image, but it's creepy. It's especially creepy if you're playing this at night, which I was the first time I did this. Lynx's corpse has been hastily stashed on the couch on the far end of the room. Only his mangled hand is visible, sticking out from beneath the cushion. Kid goes over and slowly lifts up one of the cushions. I don't know if it's the smell or the sight that makes her gag, but yes, it's definitely Lynx under there. Never expected any of this when I came here tonight. I mean, rumors of Lord Lynx's reign have been going around as strong as ever. Although when I think about it, his reputation alone could probably carry on such a regime. I wonder how long it's been since this happened. Can't be. A genocidal, terror-driven maniac. He burnt the temple and abducted Shea. How can he be dead already? I want my revenge, Kid mutters, tears swelling in her eyes. Shea. Where have I heard that name before? No one knows Lynx is dead except for us. We must be the first ones to find out about it. Maybe not, Kid adds. Her attempt at humor only succeeds in causing my feeling of dread to grow even stronger. Strange. Michael kneels down and lifts off the cushions, examining the corpse as though he were a coroner. Hey, I always liked a nice firm seat, Kid says, pretending to sit down on it. Enough of the bad jokes already, Kid.
This corpse has no life essence,
Michael continues. Isn't that how corpses usually are? I ask.
Generally, yes. When a person dies, one's consciousness or spirit is separated from the body. Normally, as the spirit leaves the body, the corpse will crumble over time. However, in this case, this corpse is aged, but has not even started to crumble at all yet. It is merely without moisture. Lynx's spirit has not yet been released.
So that means...
Yes. His spirit is still here, probably somewhere within this mansion.
Michael seems unusually disturbed by all this. First the phantom, then that whole siren thing, and now this. Even he's having trouble keeping his cool. We're in over our heads.
Lynx was apparently slain by a blade,
Maggle says, pointing to a gash in his belly. Looking around, he finds the murder weapon. It's a bloody sword stashed behind a chair.
An Acacian sword. Interesting.
Maggle tries to remain focused, racking his brain for information.
If a body and its spirit have been detached in this manner, the body will yearn for its spirit. It will transform into a sort of bottomless well, endlessly seeking spirits until it finds its own.
What's that have to do with us? What's that have to do with us? Oh, Kid says solemnly. Something's happening. This room, no, the whole house. All around us, the walls are starting to creak. There's something in here waiting for us. I can feel it on the back of my neck. I whip around with my knife ready, but nothing's there. Suddenly, something grabs my arm. Oh no, get it off of me! I whip around again, but it's only Kid. Get a grip, mate. It's just me. Phew. We got the flame. Lynx is dead. Why do we even need to be here anymore? Come on, let's go. She shouts. She's right. Screw this place.
If we can get out of here at all,
Maggle adds, standing up. And then the walls begin to creak again. We look around. The lights flicker. Oh, don't go out. Please, God, don't go out. Kid. We instantly whip round. The voice is coming from the mirror. Oh, it's her again. Oh, she's spooky. Finally, you've come. That girl. The one from before. It's her. She's here, faintly floating within the mirror. Do you know her, Kid? Shea, is that you? Kid says, gazing at the faint apparition with desperate eyes. I take another look at the girl, barely visible in the reflection. It seems she's saying something, but it's too faint to make anything out. What? What are you saying? I ask, taking a step closer. Pain. Awful, awful pain. And
So I welcome your souls.
Ooh! A gigantic hand suddenly materializes out of the mirror, grabbing at me. Maggle instantly pulls me back just as its huge hand is about to seize me. Now for Maggle's lightning-quick instincts, who knows what would happen? Good thing he was trained in space. I'm at a loss for words. All I can muster out is, "Thanks, Maggle. Thank you, Maggle. Thank you." Oh my gosh. I can't tell you how many close calls I owe him. All of a sudden, a deep, booming laugh echoes all around us. "That bastard. It's Lynx, I know it's him," Kid says, looking around. As the laugh grows louder and louder, a light begins to shimmer from Kid's backpack. Opening it up, she takes out the frozen flame. She was wearing a backpack? I didn't know she was wearing a backpack. Staring at it as it shines brighter and brighter before our eyes. Suddenly, a flash of crimson light bursts out from it in all directions. As this happens, the ominous laughing continues to get louder and louder. Kid's being put under some sort of spell. Her body rises off the floor, motionless as the stone continues to shine brighter and brighter. Maggle, what's going on? Maggle closes his eyes and begins muttering something. Before long, he unleashes a surging aura, arcing directly towards Kid. A somber red glow casts its light on everything in the room. The laughing is distorted and the stone sparkle begins to lessen. Is she okay? I ask, but I get no response. It seems Maggle's suppressing the spell. He's having trouble maintaining it, though.
"Surge, take her, now! I can't hold it off for much longer."
I grab Kid and rush her outside outside the dreadful blood-red room. Looking at her, she is as white as a ghost. In a trembling hand, she holds a steadfast grip on the frozen flame. Maggle meets up with us a moment later, looking completely exhausted. Isn't this spooky? It's so like it's like a ghost story. It's super creepy, and I like it. It's very unsettling though. Again, if this was the first one you encountered. Kid, hey Kid. Huh? Where am I? In that comfortingly familiar voice, Kid slowly starts to recover.
"Where do you think you are?"
Maggle asks. I don't know. 7.
"Good to have you back, Kid."
I'll never understand these two. What was that all about, Maggle?
"I do not know. I've rarely seen magic of such a kind. The luminescent seal we saw earlier beneath the cathedral had a similar structure."
There has to be some sort of connection. Let's head back through the corridor. Yeah. Heading back, we travel through the passageway, eager to shake this feeling of dread. Okay, this is normal. All right, I'm gonna just keep going until I get to Let's briefly look in here and see if we can look at that cloak again, and maybe we'll get more information about Shea. Never mind. Scene. Very quick. Alright, so I guess we go back to the cathedral now. Yeah, it's like this whole episode is... It's indicative of something that I actually encountered just recently. I was reading a manga that, it's like a comedy manga, like a comedy adventure manga, and it had a good example of this sort of situation where something like that's... The tone of a story or a medium or something like that is dramatically shifted in a dark way briefly, and then it's not referenced again. Like the one I was reading was oh wait, something's happening. Sorry, I was talking. Let me finish that thought. The one I was reading had like it's normally like a cheerful like adventure comedy, and then there's one episode that ends in this like really dark way. Like the implication is that this entire like the adventurers get to this village, and the entire village turns out to have been like a facade, sort of like it was being controlled by something, and they remove what was and like the one controlling it was like a corpse basically, and they remove like the power source, and the whole thing shuts down, and the episode ends with like the cheerful girl character that had been like showing them around the village, her like shut down sort of, and she's got like like her face is frozen in a smile, and like she's sitting there like she had brought a plate out thinking it was food and set it down before another person who was also a corpse, like an animated corpse, and like the scene ends with them just sort of like frozen with like in this like still It was just so weird, and then it never comes back. That's what this feels like, where it's like you have this situation where it's so weirdly dark, and then none of the other endings are like this. This is the only one that's weird like this. It's strange to me, but sometimes it happens. Anyway, we're never gonna get out of here. People have probably been trapped here their whole lives, or longer. Oh wait, no, that was me. We're never gonna get out of here. People have probably been trapped here their whole lives, or longer. Relax, mate. We got enough food here to last a while. Funny, that really didn't relax me very much. Is she talking about the corpses? Kid's acting strange. It's that girl. I know it has something to do with that girl, but what could it all mean? I want to ask Kid, but now's not the time. Why not? Hey, about that robe.
It is the official congregational robe of the Temple of Four Spirits,
Michael instantly says. It must have been on his mind as well.
Isn't that where you were raised, Kid?
Yeah, I took us in. All us orphans. Seems to be a hard subject for her. I can understand why. She always seems so moved by this. While Kid is lost in thought, Nagel takes me aside and explains the rest to me, alone.
Kid, still a child at the time, was raised by the Holy Sisters in their temple. However, one day, one of the sisters was summoned to Lynx's mansion. Kid waited day after day, but the sister did not return. After some time passed, Kid secretly sneaked out of the temple, determined to find out what had happened. She made it almost all the way to Viper Manor, alone and unprepared. She was still just a child after all. But then she heard an explosion back in the direction of her hometown. She looked back and saw fires everywhere, engulfing the only home she ever knew. Someone had set fire to her entire village, including the temple. Forgetting the mansion for the time being, she ran back to town, but Kid was the only survivor. Back then I was a regular visitor of the temple. One day I came to where the town had been, and came across this sight. All the village had been burnt to the ground, and there appeared to be no survivors. But following my intuition, I searched and searched, and there, among all the cinders and bodies, crouched a tiny, trembling little girl. After I took Kid under my wing, it was an entire year before she spoke again. Since then, something. Sorry, I didn't finish that.
Come on. No sense in backing out now, Kid says, all of a sudden. Oop, there's a little glitch there. I take a deep breath as we come to a towering set of doors. Kid gives a push and they creak open, slowly. So you can see that this one story actually gives a different background for Kid and Maggle than the others. It's weird. I guess no, that's not true. All the stories thus far have most of the stories thus far have had a pretty different background for Maggle, but you know what I mean. We walk up to the organ, pressing the white and black keys together, side by side on the keyboard. I retract my hands as soon as I press the keys, wary of the trap. After a moment or two, the wall begins to rumble and the secret door opens. The staircase winds down into darkness. Come on, no sense in waiting around all day, Kid says, heading down the cold, damp staircase. Maggle and I follow her down into the forgotten lair. Spinning! Whee! What is this? What is this? Oh! Suddenly, as if awakened by our being here, the magic seal grows stronger and stronger, giving off a terrifying shaking tremor as its radiance intensifies, filling the room with its aura. Despite our situation, I can't help but be caught up in the spectacle of it all. Look at this exciting purple gradient. Holy crap, man! However, at its core, he's here. Oh! That's cool looking. Lynx. Kid's tone is as if she's speaking the name of death itself. This man, no, this thing, Viper Manor's deadly master, the originator of all this torment. Lynx! Kid calls out to Lynx, her eyes as ravenous as a hawk's as she grips her knife tight. Lynx's image wavers silently in the air, apparently undisturbed. Kid, on the other hand, sets aside her peace of mind, calling forth the fury of maddening vengeance. Lynx starts to speak out, but ironically in a meek and comforting tone.
the frozen flame. Please, return it here, young girl.
Shell, right? You think I'm gonna listen to a bastard like you? At that moment, Kid reaches in her pocket. Moments later, she pulls out the glowing red stone. Shimmering red light streaks out between her fingers as she holds the frozen flame high above her.
Yes, Lynx continues. It is my spirit. Please, you must help me.
Your spirit? Kid asks. Lord Lynx's image pleads with Kid in a pitiful manner.
Please, hear me. I too was once on a quest. Struck down by the blade of an evil assassin, I failed to reach my goal. Through the power of secret agent arts, I was able to secure my spirit within the frozen flame, but just barely. In this meager remaining existence, I am helpless, bound to this magic seal before you. Please, return the flame to me. I am helpless without it.
Oh, pity, Kid says. I'm sure you know all about pity. Did any of those people you maimed ever show pity? Did any of those people Wait, did you ever... I'll get it eventually. Did you ever show any of them people you maimed any pity? See, I got there eventually. Took me a little bit, though. Kid's eyes returned to her hard stare. You expect us to believe you? You, the bastard who tortured countless people? Death isn't good enough for the likes of you, she shouts, squeezing the flame tighter and tighter.
Please, pity me,
the faint apparition pleads.
Bye. I'm out.
Kid! Wait, please! I don't know who's talking. Kid suddenly stops dead in her tracks, hearing that voice. It wasn't Lynx's voice.
You! No!
Lynx shouts out. Lynx's apparition bends and contorts, blurring like a sweltering heat until... Oh! It's Shea again. Hello. Another figure starts to overlap his image. It's that girl. You can actually see her pretty clearly now. I think they intentionally gradually make her more apparent as the story goes along. She's fighting to come through, wrestling with Lynx. Please, you must not trust him. Do not lend any more help to his revival, the kid says. The girl says, painfully twisting and turning within the seal.
Revival? Of course. I understand the seal's meaning now, Maggle adds. The seal is for a seance, an anti-spirit seance. By consuming others' spirits, Lynx breaks the seal by which he is kept from returning to the physical world, bit by bit. Consuming others' spirits. It all makes sense now, Maggle says. The flame, put right out in the open, was meant for us to take. It all points to this being one huge trap. There must have been others like us. Thieves who had come looking for the flame, Maggle continues. They took it, but then found themselves unable to escape.
Yeah. Lynx must have pounced on them through the flame when they least expected it, just like what happened to Kid in Lynx's room. Lynx just didn't count on someone like Maggle who was able to counter his evil magic. There must be no one left alive in this entire mansion. What about Vera? What about the old lady? We saw her already. I guess that's not important. They've all been consumed by Lynx. All those corpses we saw, how many have died, never to have gotten this far? Shea. Beside me, I hear Kid say that name again. Shea, it's you. It's you. Kid. I've never heard Kid's voice take on such a soft tone. And I wouldn't call it soft. It's more like the kind of tone a child clings to his mother with. Oh, now I remember. One of the sisters of the temple where Kid was raised was named Shea, if I'm not mistaken. Shea, it's me, Kid. Yes, my kid. Oh, my precious little kid. What a fantastic woman you've grown into.
Get out of my mind!
Lynx shouts from inside the seal. He forces his face through Shea's belly. Ew! As they begin to painfully wrestle with each other once again.
He's like, I'm here too!
Kid, Shea continues, painfully overcoming Lynx. Thank you for remembering me. However, I cannot return with you. Please hear me. The frozen flame must be destroyed. It is through this that Lynx is able to slowly resurrect himself. Please destroy it and save yourselves. I will restrain Lynx in the meantime. But no, you can't. Come back with me. Kid, just as headstrong as ever. Shea says with a wide smile on her face. We have the same voice, pretty much, kid, don't we? Yeah, we really do. I must fall with Lynx. I'm bound to this fate. You see, I'm burdened with this crime. My father's blood runs just as thickly through my veins. Father? Sensing his own impending death, Lynx made preparations for a revival before he was slain, Shea says painfully, barely able to restrain Lynx's mortal hatred. This anti-spirit seance he prepared was designed to feed off other spirits, in exchange for and to his own rejuvenation. Shea's eyes take on a somber glow. To invoke the seance, he needed a blood relative to consume first. Yes, kid, I was spawned unto him illegitimately. I'm his daughter. Does that mean you're a cat person? I still don't know if he's supposed to be a cat person. Kid's face turns to that of utter shock hearing this.
The moment that dragoon slew Lynx, I felt my spirit being sucked into this spot, consumed within his seance, but he did not stop there. All my people met the same fate. Not even this was enough, however. He continues to greedily lure unsuspecting visitors of Viper Manor to this very day, hoping to consume more and more spirits so that he may one day cross back over. This insidious crime, it must be stopped, she concludes.
Mortified, Kid is unable to say a word.
Thank you for hearing me. The truth is known, finally. Now please, save yourself, my precious little kid.
Oh, she blinked. Kids takes a deep breath. All of them, all of the kids in the room take a deep breath, staring at the shiny jewel she's been seeking for so long.
I'll choose to end it, she says solemnly.
Place it on the ground before you,
says Maggle. Kid does so, and not long after, Maggle's thick voice begins to echo out an incantation. Looking over at him, an arc of magic streaks out from his fingertips towards the flame. The scarlet jewel takes on a strange dark color as it begins to hum louder and louder. Shea smiles upon seeing this.
Thank you. Thank you for finally letting me free.
I've waited a century for this moment to put an end to Lynx,
Maggle says, smiling broadly.
And now it is finished.
As the flame continues to glow darker and darker with its new hollow gray aura, Maggle shouts,
Surge, take cover and hold Kid to you. The flame is losing stability.
Dot 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 dot. It's very boring. It's very boring, I guess. All right, yes, thank you, phone. Thank you for ruining things numerous times, phone. Thank you. Everyone have a next very clearly. Something happened. My phone went off. Again. The magic seals radiance. Lynx's contorted screams. Maggle invoking his magic. My phone going off. Shea's comforting smile. All of these things and more happened. And a tear rolling down Kid's cheek. When I come to, I find that I'm lying on the ground, holding Kid tightly to me, rubbing the soot out of my eyes. How long have I been lying here? Our clothes have been tattered and our bodies have sustained more than their fair share of bruises, but we're all right. It looks like Maggle was thrown over to the opposite side of the room. He lays there silently, exhausted of all energy, and asleep. I pick up my head and glance over to where the flame was. It's gone. There's no trace of Shea or Lynx either. I sleep, and sleep, and sleep. The moon rises for a second time, and I finally feel like I have the strength to get up. I nudge Kid, who's still groggy, as I sit up on the cold stone floor. It's all this. What do we have to show for it? Nothing, I think to myself remorsefully. But then I glance at Kid and realize that's not entirely true. Walking through the forest wilderness, I look back over my shoulder to the towering mansion one last time. Finally, Viper Manor's at peace. Walking beside me, Kid gulps painfully as she looks down at her hand. tracing the outline of where she once grasped the legendary frozen flame so tightly. Closing her hand, she moves on. And that's it. And so the curtain closes on another tale. However, another time, after the spotlight had faded from Kid, Maggle, and Shea. In another place and another time, a similar band of adventurers had come forth, equally unsuspecting of their other selves, and life went on as they strode out into the great unknown. But that's a story for another day. For now, I shall put down my pen. And that is Homecoming Shea's Light. The spooky one. This is an hour-long episode. Oh no! Do I want to split this into two? Nah. It's just an hour-long episode, whatever. Watch it in parts. It's like a stream. I don't know. This is a long one. But it's interesting, right? I think that this is one of the more interesting stories. It certainly feels like one of those, if not the most, like, developed of the stories in the game. Of, like, the bonus stories. This was almost as long as just playing the game regularly. You pretty much had to go everywhere in the mansion, and we got to see one of the fights we hadn't seen before, the leech thing that can actually happen in the regular game as well. But it was more appropriate here. So anyway, that's it. That's another one down. We've got 2 more endings to go. So I hope you'll come back and join me for that. I am the MoeChicken. This is Radical Dreamers, and thanks for stopping by.